So get this. My no-good-for-nothing husband ends up cheating on me, and his mistress thinks that she hit the home run because he did nothing but lie to her just to get her. She thinks that he's the breadwinner when I've been paying for everything for him for years. Well, the joke's on her when she messages me on social media. I'm 35 and female, and I've been married to my husband, Gareth, for 7 years now. Recently, I've started to think that things are not as good as I thought they were, but I may be overthinking some things. We have a good life, mostly, and I work long hours, so it might be that I'm just tired and seeing things that aren't there. So, I think that my husband's having an affair, and I don't know what to do about it. Should I dig deeper and try to find out, or should I just leave things as it may all be in my head? And if I push things too hard, I might even ruin my marriage. I'll give some background to my relationship, and maybe I could get some advice on whether I'm being overly suspicious or not. I met Gareth through my dad, as he's worked with Gareth's uncle a few times, and they became friends. My dad told me that Gareth's uncle was a really good man, but I did not find out until we had been dating for a few months that Gareth was not as good at the business as his family. Gareth had not done well at school and had not wanted to go to university. His uncle had given him a job and told him that he would be able to work for him as long as he kept his life on track. Gareth had a history of hanging out with the wrong crowd, drinking, smoking when he was younger. By the time I met him, he was doing much better, and even though he was not successful, I'd fallen in love and decided it was okay. I was building a good career for both of us. We got married and started living together. I have a law degree, and I started working for a large firm right after university as a junior lawyer. Over time, I managed to work my way up the ladder, and 2 years ago, I was made a partner, which was amazing. This means that I'm on a high salary, but I do end up working long hours. We're a firm that specializes in business law, and so I have to travel a good bit. We have clients all over the country, and some even international. When I had to go on business trips, I always asked Gareth to come, and we'll try and do some sightseeing in between my work and all. We do have a good life. I started to notice some cracks a couple months ago, and it coincided with the arrival of his uncle, Harry's new assistant. Her name is Lisa. She's 29, I think. I met her just after she started as I went to meet Harry for lunch. I have a good relationship with Harry, and my law firm represents his company. I am his personal lawyer, which works well as we get along very splendid. Lisa seemed unusual choice for his PA as she was very giggly, and to be a bit rude, looked like a Barbie doll. I thought to myself that Harry was having, what do they call it, a midlife crisis. But he's not married, and so it's none of my beeswax. Gareth was not at the lunch as it was a business lunch, but Lisa did mention that she had met my husband. Well, Harry and I left the office to go for lunch, and I didn't really think about it again. I noticed that Lisa's name, it would come up in conversation at home more, and Gareth was full of stories about things Lisa had said to him, or he said to her. I did say at the time it was a bit weird, but he laughed it off and said I was acting like a jealous wife, and she was just a work colleague, so obviously he has to talk to her. He said I mentioned my work colleagues all the time, which was true, but not usually in such an intimate way. I wondered if there was some truth in this comment, and I was overthinking things because she was younger than me. I guess to some people more attractive, I think I'm a good-looking woman, but in a more natural way. I, for example, have my natural hair color and wear fitted business suits, and well, Lisa was wearing a very short skirt and a blouse that was at least a size too small for her. I was worried the buttons over her fake bust would burst and hit me in the eye. Anyways, that's our background. I guess you would ask what evidence I have that Gareth may be having an affair, and I wish I could say I had something solid, other than a gut feeling. And just the things don't feel the same between Gareth and I. He's being evasive, and where he has been, what he's done, and he seems to have less money than normal. I don't know, am I overreacting and just being a jealous wife because he's friendly to a younger woman? I think I just need an outsider's opinion on this. Should I dig deeper? Or stop being a jealous wife? What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. Today's story is very interesting. There's 6 full updates for it, so we're going to hop into update number 1, which is bringing out OP suspicions. If you're new to the channel, hello, my name's Mr. Reddito. I read stories every single day. If that's something you're into, smash that subscribe button, and let's see what's going on with Gareth. Update number 1. After thinking about this whole thing more and looking at what people who are not involved had suggested, I've decided that I need to look into it more. I think that if I do not have a good look at my relationship and my suspicions, I'll just drive myself insane, overthinking everything. I'm not sleeping at night as I lay in bed watching my husband sleep and wondering if he's even having an affair with another woman. I think he started to notice that I'm not acting myself, so at some point he'll most likely raise the issue. If I'm wrong, then he does not need to know what I was even checking up on him for. But if I'm right, I need to protect myself at all cost. I've decided that I'll go to the bank, ask for a printout of all the recent transactions on our accounts and credit cards. I was going to look at our online banking, but if Gareth logs on, he'll just be able to see what I've been looking at. For now, I want it to be a secret. There's no point of ruining my relationship if I'm just imagining things. If I find that there are things in our accounts that suggest that Gareth is definitely being dishonest with me, I'll decide what to do from there. I have to go on a business trip in 2 days, so I won't be here for 5 days. Usually, Gareth would come with me as I am going to a place we both enjoy, and he would have a lot of free time to shop about, go for walks, whatever. However, this time, Gareth had said his uncle needs him for work, and that's making me very, very suspicious. Garth does not have an official role at his uncle's company. He does help with things that his uncle needs. He's like an office boy, but he has a little to what it does. It's not insulting, but it is what it is. Maybe I should have asked Harry what important task he needed from Gareth for a while I'm away. But I think the first step is to look at the bank statements now. I know that if it looks like Gareth is cheating on me, Harry will never cover for him. Harry gets very frustrated with Gareth's lack of ambition and the way I work so hard so Gareth can have a good life. Harry has said on a couple of times over the last 7 years that I deserve better than what I actually am settling for. Sometimes I ponder if he's right. Anyways, that's just me drifting off of the tangent. My appointment at the bank is in the afternoon, and once I have the statements, I'll have a good look and see what I can find. Wish me luck, as I really hope that my suspicions are just results of my own uncertainty and stupid thoughts. Update number 2. I got the bank statements 3 days ago, and I'm currently sitting in a hotel room on my business trip. I did not realize how much we spend, and it's taken me longer than expected to go through all the papers. I was very busy preparing for this trip, and so anything to do with the trip had to be priority. Gareth did not come, and so I am here on my own. In the evening, I have time to look at everything. I'm beginning to think that my suspicions were correct, as there are things hidden amongst our spending that I have no knowledge of. Unless Gareth is planning on surprising me with a lot of gifts. He did not buy these things for me. I have to wonder if he just assumed I would never look at the bank details, as there's a lot of things that are suspicious here. I'll give you an overview of some of the things I found, and I think you'll agree that my suspicions are legitimate now. So, over the last month in particular, there's been a lot of charges to the normal account and the credit card for lunches that I did not go to. I had to go through my diary to check whether it was something we did together, because I forget, but out of all the lunch charges, I was there for 2 of them. It is also not possible that Gareth was there with his own prices that he's paid. They're just way too much for one person to eat. Of course, I need to check Harry was not with him on those days, but usually Harry would just pay for the lunch if they went out together. My mind is going around in circles at the moment. In itself, the lunches could be innocent as he has friends that he does meet up with. Most of them are total losers and don't have decent jobs, so he would pay for them. I think he likes to go to expensive restaurants with him just to rub it in just how successful he is. However, there are other purchases that cannot be explained away by seeing his old friends. There's also 2 hotel room charges, which is strange as he's not been away and both the hotels are in our town. He'll need to explain those to me. Well, even if he has a reasonable excuse for the rooms, I don't think he'll have a good reason why he bought a lot of expensive lingerie and 2 pieces of jewelry. I've not received any of those, and I looked up the store he brought the lingerie at. There's no way in this lifetime I would wear anything like they sell, but I know a woman who most likely would. I think there's enough things that don't add up for me to confront him when I get back home from my trip. I'm angry, and I've been tempted to call him and demand answers, but I'm also a lawyer, and I know for a fact that people find it a lot harder to lie to people when they're not looking at you. I also plan to catch him off guard, as he was never good at hiding his feelings, and I'm sure his face will give him away. For now, I just have to concentrate on my trip and make sure I don't let my mix of emotions affect my work. In 5 days, when I get home, Gareth will face me, and I'll find out the truth.
Update number 3. This is going to be a longer update, and it'll be a rant, because I'm mad as heck. If I don't get everything I'm feeling out of me, I may do something stupid that I'll regret later. I will not risk my reputation and my career over my lying, cheating, good-for-nothing husband. So, this is what happened when I got home. First thing I noticed before I even confronted him about the money was that the house felt off. Maybe I was projecting my anger, but it really did feel as though someone else had been in my house. As I was unpacking my bags, Gareth was still at work. I sat on the bed and something pricked my leg. Under the sheets, I found an earring, which is definitely not mine. I only wear silver jewelry, as it suits my complexion better, and this one was gold. I wondered if I found part of the jewelry he had been buying in my bed. It's strange because I should be upset. I should be distraught that my husband's had another woman in my house whilst I was away working and earning money for both of us. But I wasn't. I was simply angry. I was mad. But mainly mad at myself, to the point for thinking that I was making something out of nothing. In the time before Gareth came home, I turned my house upside down, looking for any more evidence that he's had a woman here. I also threw the sheets from my bed out in the trash, as there's no way I would be sleeping on them. I decided I would also need a new mattress. I think you can see that at this point I was totally done with this situation. Finally, Gareth arrived at home. In reality, it was only a couple of hours later, but it felt like an eternity, as I was angry and ready to confront him. There was no sign in the house that I've seen anything, and I was sitting at the table drinking coffee, working on my laptop. When he came home, he was full of smiles, telling me he missed me. But I just smiled back and said, "Liar." He stopped halfway through taking off his coat, looked back at me. I think he must have seen a twinkle in my eyes or something that led him to not mess with me, as he slowly took off his other arm from the coat and sat down on the sofa. He did not speak, and neither did I. Well, I got a small sense of satisfaction watching his mind go into overtime trying to work out what it was what I thought that he lied about. I think even at this point he still hoped I was angry over something silly, like he's forgotten to return a text message or phone call. I turned my chair to face him and said, "At what point did you decide that it was worth throwing your marriage away for Lisa?" I didn't know for definite that woman was Lisa, but the look of his face confirmed that I've guessed correctly. He recovered quickly, but tried to bluff his way out of the mess he was in. I sat and listened on, knowing he would trip himself up at some point. Liars always do. Take a work of advice from a lawyer. If you're going to lie, you either need to be really good at it or don't try to make up things on the spot. A good lawyer will see the lie almost right away. After about 5 minutes of him shouting and protesting, he sank back onto the sofa. He apparently was shocked and disgusted that his wife would think he was capable of such a thing with a woman as young as Lisa. In his opinion, I was obviously too stressed with work and was taking all the anger out on him. He even suggested this, which actually made me laugh out loud, that I was the one with something to hide, as I was trying to make him out to be the bad guy with all my sins. I asked him if he's finished with his crap, and like the good lawyer I am, I laid out every single bit of evidence I could find. I'd highlighted all the parts of the bank statements that I did not recognize and asked him to tell me exactly where he's been, who he was with. As he tried to bluff his way through this, I took notes of the names of people he said he was with and the reasons for the hotel. As I suspected, he tried to say that he had spent time with his friends, and his uncle and the hotels were a friend who was having a hard time. I asked why he did not tell me about the friend, as I would have been happy to help. He said he didn't want to stress me out with such a little issue. I thought he thought that he was winning until I pointed to the transactions for the underwear and jewelry and asked if they were also for his male friends. Or maybe for Harry, and there's something I didn't know. If I was not so angry, it would have been comical, as he sat there and is closing his mouth like a fish out of water. He did attempt to say he had bought presents for me, but I think even he knew that was stupid, because where are they? I asked him where they were, and he blustered some more until I tossed the gold earring onto the table in front of him. I think at that point he realized the gig was up. It's over. He's been caught red-handed, busted. He leant forward with his head in his hands and cried. I would love to say he was crying because he hurt me, but I don't think that was the case. I'm pretty sure he was crying because he knew that I would never forgive him for an affair, and that he was about to lose the comfortable life that he had become so used to. You see, one of the things that I did when we first married was to make sure the assets were all in my name. When we bought the house, I was the only one who could get the mortgage for it. Harry, rather sensibly, did not put up cash advance for Gareth, and I do wonder now if Harry always thought Gareth would let me down in the end. The house was solely in my name, as was the cars. Other than his own car, Gareth had nothing but the clothes on his back. Granted, I bought most of those clothes on said back, but what use for them do I really have? I sat and let Gareth cry and feel sorry for himself for a while. I kind of enjoyed it, if I'm honest. Finally, I had enough of his self-indulgent misery and told him he needed to pack his stuff and get out. He said, where was he supposed to go? I said I didn't care. He should go to Lisa, as she seemed to want him, or maybe try Harry and see what he had to say about the whole ordeal. Gareth protested for a while, but in the end he packed his crap and took his car. I actually don't know where he went, and I don't care. In the morning, I'll be talking to the best divorce lawyer in my firm, and Gareth will have to live with the choices that he's made. Update number 4. Life's been really chaotic, and it's been a while since I've updated anything on here. I was thinking of keeping this going while the progressed with the divorce as I moved on, but I figured it would be just as good to wait until the divorce was finalized, so that was not little bits here and there. Divorce, it took a long time, which people don't seem to realize, especially when your soon-to-be ex-husband tries everything in his power to slow it down. The night I kicked Gareth out of the house, he went to Lisa's house, as even Gareth was not stupid enough to go to his uncle's house. He knew that Harry would most likely take me by side, and he was right. There's more to the story coming up. Lisa must have thought that she had won the lottery when her rich lover left his wife for her. Yes, he told her that he left me as he could not live with Lisa, and she was much more than I would ever be. He told her I was just a, quote, law secretary, and would never be capable of living the life he wanted, and I was not glamorous enough to be by his side. This all came out later when even his friends got fed up with his behavior and lies. I thought I'd be upset when he left, and it surprised me how little I actually missed him. I think I've known for a long time that I've simply outgrown him, but had not wanted to give up my marriage just yet. The divorce, it was not pleasant, and Gareth used every single bit of ammo he could think of and try to slow things down or get more money out of me. You see, he had run into a problem. The whole time he and Lisa were together, he had made it out that he was the successful breadwinner. He was the successful businessman, and now he's on his own and had to find a way to keep up the pretense, or, as a last resort, actually work hard for once in his miserable existence. Lisa was never at any of the court proceedings to support him, and he worked very hard to make sure that our paths did not cross. I assumed it was because he was worried about what would happen if we met, but really he was worried about Lisa finding out the truth. Now, Gareth did have some money that he was left to him by his mother when she died, but it was all held in a trust for him by his uncle. Is there anything sadder than a man of 38 years of age who can't be trusted with his own inheritance? Gareth never bothered about it, as he was given a set amount each month and he lived off me. Now he needs the money. His uncle gave it to him, as Gareth was in theory a grown man and it was his to have. Harry then told me when we met for lunch not long after that he would be surprised if it lasted Gareth 3 whole months, as it was a substantial amount of money. The only sensible thing Gareth did was buy a home, but it was a house that was way beyond his means. He had to keep up a show for Lisa after all. Finally, once the divorce was settled, I gave very little thought to either Gareth or Lisa and went on with my life. I would hear things over the grapevine and through Harry, who I met regularly for dinner or drinks, and he told me about what's going on. Against his better judgment, Harry had kept Gareth on the staff at his business, because he had made a promise to his sister that he would, and I said that was the right thing to do. However, Gareth was only a small wage, and so for his luxuries, he had to find other ways to support himself. He chose the worst way possible. After his inheritance dried up, he took out loans and credit cards to keep his life floating, and he got further and further into debt. I always doubted Lisa's intelligence, but what happened 6 months after our divorce was finalized confirmed my opinion on that. I received a text from Lisa, which I assume she took from Gareth's phone. The message was a long gloating post about how she had won and taken my successful husband away from me, and she hoped I realized that it was my own fault. Maybe if I've tried a little harder with my looks, my weight, my career, I would have been able to keep the attention of a man such as Gareth. I honestly laughed for a long time when I read this, and I was also extremely confused. I figured that after all this time, there had to be something that told Lisa that Gareth was living in a fantasy and she was part of it. I replied because I couldn't help myself and said that she was wrong about everything. She replied to me saying I was just jealous and she wanted me to know that she was 3 months pregnant with her super genius baby, who would be a huge success like her father. She said it was a shame I could not have kids or Gareth might have stayed. Gareth had told her I was barren, and that's why we did not have children. As far as I know, I can have children, I just didn't want them. I was sitting with Harry having lunch when all this happened, and I showed him every message. Lisa was at this point still working for the company, but had been very rocky grounds ever since the affair between them. Harry suggested I come to his office the following day. Gareth was away from the office that day, as Harry had sent him on a dead-end errand to keep him busy, so I could talk to Lisa. I'm looking forward to meeting with her to set things straight, so she knows the man she's living with. I just realized that they got married. I didn't even know what until Harry just told me. It really does get better and better. Update number 5. Final update. This is the final time I'll talk about this sorry affair. I'm done with my pathetic ex-husband and his equally pathetic wife. I went to the office to talk to Lisa and to file her with notices that she was not to contact me again. Being a lawyer, well, it does have its perks, you know. She was shocked to see me and tried to tell Harry I was there to hurt her, as she was jealous of her baby. Harry told her to shut up and listen, and between us we told her the truth about Gareth. How he didn't have a real job with Harry's business, he was just there because of a promise that his deceased mom. How he was up to his eyeballs in debt and he had absolutely no assets at all. I suggested that it might be wise of her to check their financial statements, as she may be into a shock of her lifetime. As we talked, Lisa shook her head and said we were wrong, and I was just trying to ruin her relationship with Gareth. She yelled I was jealous that I've lost my rich husband and so would not be able to live a good life, and I would not have children like she was having.
I said I knew he said that I was a secretary, but I'm actually a partner in a law firm, and I wrote on a piece of paper how much I earned last year. I also said that my house was almost paid off, and I had substantial savings, which had bought her all presents and hotel rooms whilst they were running around behind my back. You would almost see the gears in her head whirling around as she realized that we were telling her the truth. Harry also pointed out that he had no reason to lie to her. Lisa looked terrified at this point, but I just smiled and told her to look at the money. After that, I left and went home. I assumed I would never hear from them again, but I did a few days later. I came out of a meeting and sobbing voicemail from Lisa saying that I've been right about everything and that they were in serious financial trouble. They were risking losing their home and cars. She said that she was sorry and asked them for forgiveness. I thought about calling her back, but decided she made her own bed by stealing another woman's husband. I sent her a text and simply said, "You wanted him. You got him. Enjoy your genius, baby." I guess she realized I had no sympathy for her, and she never contacted me again. All this happened a few months ago, and from what I hear, things have gone downhill fast. I get updates from Harry and a couple of mutual friends. Gareth stormed out of his uncle's office one day and never returned. Harry said he was done with him, and Lisa was fired around the same time for trying to steal money from the business. Harry did not press charges, as he said he felt sorry for her. They lost the house, and as far as we know, they're living in a small apartment in a shoddy area. As far as we know, they're still together. But if Lisa has any sense in her tiny little brain, she'll leave and find someone better for her and her child. As for me, I'm happy. I found something better. I never realized that older men had such an appeal. And well, yeah, Harry and I have been dating for a couple months now. I guess for me, I got the happy ending that Lisa craved so badly. Oh, Lisa, Lisa, Lisa. I don't know who's the bigger piece of crap of this story, the cheating husband of OP or Lisa, who wanted to gloat about stealing a married man, and everything came back to bite her on the butt. Karma came swiftly for Lisa. Guys, let me know your thoughts about this story. Go ahead and drop your opinions down below in the description section right below us. And hey, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I hope you guys enjoyed today's stories. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one.